In the headlines, concerns over looming flood in some states as Cameroonian authorities release water from Lagdo Dam. Fire destroys 20 shops in Gobio Central Market, Maiduguri. New NNPP Board of Trustees suspends party's 2023 presidential candidate Rabiu Kwankwaso for anti-party activities. And from the international scene, UN report says at least 183 killed in clashes in Ethiopia's Amhara. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thank you for staying with us. And now the details. Fears of people living in flood-prone areas have been allayed by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, saying the impact of a release of water from Lagdo Dam in Cameroon will not be as destructive as many people think. Director General of the agency, Clement Nze, said this while featuring on Trust TV program Daybreak on Tuesday. The report.
2023 NIMET forecasts have warned of massive variation in the onset of rainfall in the most parts of the country. It predicted that the coastal zone of the south-south states of Bayelsa, Rivers and Akwa Ibom will observe unpleasant rainfall changes that may lead to flood. Release of water from Lagdo Dam puts about 11 states at risk of flooding. Clement Nze further said the Cameroonian authorities opened the Lagdo Dam a week before informing Nigeria, a situation he described as unfortunate. The Director General, however, assured Nigerians that the open dam will not cause destruction in the country.
There is no cause for alarm. Actually, there are several channels of communication between countries. And following the 2012 flood incident in Nigeria, which was attributed to Cameroon opening their dam, the two countries began to discuss. It eventually materialized in signing an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, on the 3rd of May 2016, where President Paul Biya was in Nigeria to sign that MOU. But the MOU was short of maybe what some of us will expect, where Cameroon will commit themselves to notify Nigeria ahead of time before they release water. But that MOU has no such content.
He explained that the dam, which was opened on the 14th of this month, will not affect many, urging people not to panic.
I've been following the work of the DG. He's been very vocal, trying to get communities and governments to do what is right so that we prevent these losses that we incur every year during the flooding season. He's someone who is really trying on this. The fact that his commission was told only 7 days after, he had to make a phone call actually to confirm it. It's indicative of the sort of problems we've been having with the Lagdo Dam over the years. Some of the problems are from our side, some of the problems are from Cameroon.
People living in flood-prone areas in the 11 states have been advised to relocate to safer places.
Meanwhile, the management of the National Inland Waterways Authorities, NIWA, says it has put everything in place to stem the tide of this year's expected flooding in the confluence areas of Kogi State. The general manager of the agency, Jibril Dardau, disclosed this to Daily Trust on Tuesday in Lokoja. He said the management has taken proactive measures that will reduce the hardship associated with flooding, particularly as the management of Lagdo Dam has informed the country to that effect. He also said that the agency has also put measures in place to assist would-be victims of the envisaged flooding, particularly in the 9 communities prone to flooding in the state. These measures, he said, are to correct the lapses experienced in the previous flooding episodes and to minimize its impact on the people. The Edo State government has called on residents in lowland and riverine areas in the state to be vigilant and relocate to higher plains as a result of likely flooding with the release of modulated amounts of water into River Niger from Lagdo Dam by Cameroonian authorities. The communities include Agenebode in Etako East Local Government Area, and Negbeti in Etako Central Local Government Area and Ilushi in Esan Southeast Local Government Area, as well as other riverine areas in Ikpoba Oka Local Government Area, Ovia Northeast Local Government Area, and Ovia Southwest Local Government Area. In a statement in Benin on Monday, the Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Chris Nehikare, said the move was precautionary to avoid flooding. Nehikare assured that the state government will provide support to those displaced from their homes by the rising water level occasioned by the overflow of the river Benue. He said efforts have been made to ensure that the internally displaced persons IDP camps in the state are in a good state and residents adequately briefed and sensitized. A fire outbreak that occurred at Gubio Central Market in Maiduguri, Borno State. The incident happened late Monday night. Now, the cause of the fire was not immediately ascertained. However, an unverified video on social media claimed that more than 20 shops were destroyed by the fire. Gubio, 84 kilometers from Maiduguri, the state capital, is one of the 27 local government areas in the state. We spoke to Trust TV's Beatrice Kurutsi, who gives us an update on the incident.
Okay, yes, I spoke to one of the residents in Gubio where the fire incident happened inside the market. He said that the fire started yesterday night at about 10:43 p.m. So by then they have already closed the market. Some shops have closed for the day. So it was just few minutes that the fire incident happened. So, and that they suspect that the fire might be caused by the solar power that they used there. So when it happened, they were trying to put out the fire, but it was beyond their efforts, and then the thing affected like close to like 24 shops there, because that they were only able to retrieve like their goods from 4 or 5 shops. It's not up to 3, and then that the fire went down with goods worth of 15 million naira, and that while they were putting out the fire, the Nigerian army there came into town because they thought that it was something. Maybe they thought it was something like a threat or so. So when they came, they discovered that it was a fire incident happening in the market, and then they now brought in their water tank to come and help put out the fire. So they tried and tried it before it went off. It was all with the help of the residents and then the Nigerian army that helped to put out the fire.
In politics, the Board of Trustees, the BOT of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, has suspended its candidate in the February 25th presidential election, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, for alleged anti-party activities. The BOT also suspended the National Working Committee, NWC, of the party. It also appointed new national officers headed by Agbo Major as acting national chairman and Ogini Olaposi as acting national secretary alongside 18 others. Reports say the suspension is for 6 months. The suspensions were put to a voice vote by members of the party at its special general assembly in Lagos. Addressing newsmen at the end of the meeting in Lagos on Tuesday, Secretary of the Board, the BOT, Babayo Muhammad Abdullahi, accused Kwankwaso of hobnobbing with President Bola Tinubu. The People's Democratic Party, the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, without the board's authorization. Abdullahi announced that Kwankwaso had been stripped of the NNPP national leader status by the board. The secretary of the BOT said the purported suspension of the NNPP founder was a flagrant gross violation of the party's constitution. Meanwhile, the national leader of the New Nigeria People's Party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, was conspicuously absent at his party held its National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja on Tuesday to ratify the expulsion of the chairman of Board of Trustees, Boniface Anyebonam, and the National Publicity Secretary, Agbo Major, and 14 others. The NNPP has been rocked by crisis recently as its National Working Committee dissolved 7 state executive committee, as well as the founder and chairman of the Board of Trustees, Boniface Anyebonam, and the National Publicity Secretary, Agbo Major. The meeting had the governor of Kano State, Abba Kabir Yusuf, and the speaker of the Kano State House of Assembly, Jibrin Falgore, in attendance. Daily Trust gathered that a parallel meeting of the purported expelled members was being held in Lagos. The NERC alleged that they were expelled for forming parallel board, NWC and SEC. The national chairman of the party, Abba Kawu Ali, said that the NERC was aimed to restructuring the party. He said a 7-member disciplinary committee was set up by the NWC, which report led to the suspension of the state executive committees. He urged those who have won election on the platform of the party to be good ambassadors as well as emulate Kwankwaso. A Kano State High Court has issued an ex parte order restraining the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, the Code of Conduct Bureau, CCB, and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, the ICPC, from interfering in the affairs of the Kano State Public Complaint and Anti-Corruption Commission, PCACC. The duo of EFCC and CCB had in separate letters to the PCACC informed of a pending investigation into the affairs of the Kano Anti-Graft Agency, with the former requesting for the PCACC's Director of Finance and Accounts to avail herself with some documents on Monday for interview, while the CCB only requested for some documents to aid its investigation. But the Kano State government, through its Attorney General, filed a suit before the State High Court to ask for, among other things, the declaration that any act carried out by the Commission, the PCACC, and its staffs in the course of discharging their duty functions under the supervision of or on behalf of the Attorney General, being the head and supervisor, cannot be subjected to investigation without recourse to him. While granting the ex parte motion that accompanied the originating summons, the presiding judge, Justice Farouk Lawan Adamu, held that upon reading the motion ex parte together with the accompanying affidavit sworn to by Khalifa Awal Hashim on August 28, and other by way interim injunction restraining the defendants and respondents from meddling or delving into the affairs or taking any step on related to or in connection with the functions, duties, and affairs of the plaintiffs and applicants was granted. He thereafter adjourned the matter to September 25th for hearing of the originating motion. A Bauchi-based medical practitioner, Mohammed Bashir, says Nigeria must develop and produce its own vaccines to achieve the universal health coverage. Dr. Mohammed speaks on how childhood immunization can be more effective throughout the country. Adamu Imam files in the report.
National Immunization Coverage Survey 2021 shows that Nigeria risks losing children under 5 to preventable diseases because of the lower percentage of immunization coverage despite government efforts at all levels. Commenting on the report, Dr. Bashir Mohammed, working at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital, emphasized that Nigerian health authorities should adopt a new strategy on healthcare delivery, including immunization against killer diseases.
If you can produce in your country, first you create a lot of jobs for your people, you create industries which will employ people, so job security will be there, and then you also export and make money out of that. That's aside the fact that you will naturally have them whenever you need them.
The survey also pointed out that the early childhood mortality per 1,000 live births is still discouraging. The medical practitioner recommends that parents must ensure a routine immunization for every child to achieve high percentage of coverage.
You don't need to have detailed explanation of why A is equals to B or A leads to B. No, it's just faith that people have that this is it, and so they don't want it. And that is why we need to rally around and educate people effectively, right? Such that we have our traditional and religious leaders to actually get to buy in and see what we're talking about, believe in it, and then they can carry it around, because most people have, believe in them more than they believe in the government.
He pointed out that religious and cultural beliefs remain impediments to immunization, but with constant and effective communication, things will change for the better. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up, we'll take a look at imperative of water, sanitation and hygiene. This and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Update on Trust TV. Here is a recap of our top stories. We brought you concerns over looming flood in some states as Cameroonian authorities release water from Lagdo Dam. And fire destroys 20 shops in Gobio Central Market, Maiduguri. Now moving on to more stories, the need for FCT residents to embrace safe drinking water, sanitation and hygiene, wash as crucial elements to human health and well-being has again been emphasized. It was at a sensitization where stakeholders said the Safe Wash initiative is not only a prerequisite to health, but contributes to livelihoods, school attendance and dignity, while at the same time helping to create resilient communities holding or living in healthy environments. Noel Samson has more of the details.
According to statistics, in Nigeria, only 26.5% of the population used improved drinking water sources and sanitation facilities. Also, 23.5% of the population defecate in the open. The use of contaminated drinking water and poor sanitary conditions result in increased vulnerability to waterborne diseases, hence the need for desensitization.
In terms of sanitation, the FCT is gradually becoming a nemesis, where there are quite a lot of reported cases of open defecation, open urination. Then even the markets and the motor parks, when you see most of the public places, they are dirty. They don't oftentimes evacuate, their refugees. So, and as a result of this, we feel that it is time, to sensitize, the communities in Abuja. And before we can do that effectively, we need to engage, the critical stakeholders, the ones we call the gatekeepers. And that's why you are seeing us in the palace today to engage, with the Etsu Kado, so that he can as well talk to different heads of the community.
With sanitation of the environment, we will not have any disease. If our air, our water, and the food we eat is clean, is in order, is prepared in a healthy situation, there will be no disease.
Some of the communities visited appreciated the gesture and promised to keep the environment clean.
Every end of the month of the sanitation, we used to go around to make sure the environment is keeping clean. And as people have come today again, it's for the people now to go out from this place to go and tell their people that those people have come to give chief power again. Go and clean the environment. I think the end of this Saturday coming now, I think I have a lot of security men that I have organized. If you will, I will appreciate you to come on Saturday. You will see how the work will move in with my people.
It is a thing of joy for SEPDA to take us along, enlighten us, to encourage us to keep our environment clean. Even though they don't live among us here, but they have decided to come out to enlighten us more on how important it is to keep the environment clean.
Personal hygiene and hand washing are critical in the prevention and spread of illness and disease, and is critical to healthy and productive society. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Kebbi Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service has said that the recent killing of 2 of its personnel along Bunza Koko Road while on lawful duty will not dampen the spirit of its officers and men. Area Controller Ben Oramalugo said this at the command's headquarters in Birnin Kebbi during a press briefing to commiserate the death of the 2 men and to hand over additional consignment of some seized drugs to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA. Omar Afanda Mohammed files in the report.
It was truly an emotional gathering, a celebration with mixed feelings, combining commiseration for the loss of 2 men and celebrating perennial success in tackling activities of drug barons that have been persistently frustrated from entering into Nigeria's territories through the Kebbi Command borders. On Thursday, 24th of August, Customs Inspector Kabiru Shehu and Abdullahi Mohammed, a customs assistant, paid a supreme sacrifice with their lives while on a stop-and-search operation along Bunzat Akingari Koko Road, when suspected bandits opened fire on them. The controller in charge of the command, Dr. Ben Oramalugo, who has vehemently blocked all attempts to smuggle in hard drugs into the country, said despite the fact that the killers were yet to be determined as either bandits or drug barons on vendetta mission, yet his men would not be frustrated.
We directed our officers to intensify surveillance in all nooks and crannies of the states, having had critical intelligence on their impending activities.
Shortly after observing a minute's silence and prayer, then came a gallop of signing and handing over of seized contrabands, 371 parcels of Indian hemp intercepted at Kawara waterside in Suru local government, and 98 packs of Diaxaphan, all handed over to NDLEA. In yet another development, 1,080 pieces of donkey skin had also been handed to the Department of Quarantine Services in Kebbi. Other items seized by the customs include 10 sacks of snuff, 37 bags of foreign parboiled rice, 300 liters of petrol, 16 bales of second-hand clothing, and a Toyota Corolla used for conveyance of the seized contraband with duty value of over 164 million. Pressmen were conducted around to the seized contrabands, after which the two heads of agencies, NDLEA and Quarantine Services, appreciated the custom for a job well done. From Kebbi State, Umar Afanda, Trust Television News.
On the international scene, at least 183 people have been killed since July in clashes in Ethiopia's Amhara region, the United Nations said on Tuesday, as it appealed for the killings, violence and rights abuses to end. Tension in the northern region ratcheted up this year after the end of a devastating war in the neighboring region of Tigray that also drew in fighters from Amhara. In April, the federal government announced it was dismantling regional forces across the country. The move triggered protests by Amhara nationalists who said it will weaken their region. Clashes erupted in the early July between the National Army and local fighters known as Fano, prompting the authorities in Addis Ababa on August 4th to declare a 6-month state of emergency. Hutardo said the status gives the authorities broad powers to arrest suspects without a court order, impose curfews, and ban public gatherings. And finally, in sports, Nigeria's duo of David Oji and Prestige Achibong have emerged champions of the under-19 and under-15 categories of the Winifred Awosika African Youth Scrabble Championship, which featured players from Kenya, Liberia, Ghana, Uganda, and host Nigeria. David clinched the Under-19 championship after 4 days of 24 rounds of intensive mind games in which he won 19 and lost 5 games with a cumulative score spread of plus 2,022 at Chrisland School, Lekki, Lagos. Another Nigerian, Joy Ola, came second with 28 wins and a cumulative score of plus 1,997 ahead of Latif Musa, who recorded 17 victories and cumulative points of plus 1,012. The top honor for the under-15 category went to another Nigerian, Prestige Achibong, who swept 16 games with a cumulative score spread of plus 2,614. Kwados Aliu came second with 13 wins and a cumulative score spread of plus 1,358, while Clinton Imode came third in the cumulative and the competition that featured 88 players from the 5 countries. The winners shared the $9,000 prize money and other gifts like laptops, tablets, and smartphones. And with that, we wrap up News Update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms, and you can join our YouTube Live for more news programs and documentaries. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.